This is Top 30.
Welcome to the show. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. We have 30 stories in 30 minutes. Coming up, United Airlines is testing a system to potentially speed up the boarding process. A groundbreaking change is coming to the Miss America pageant. And after his beloved Dodgers hat was stolen by bullies, one diehard fan got the surprise of his life. But first, a warning to everyone about the dangers of sleeping with your mascara on. Theresa Lynch, a 50-year-old Maryland native, says she used mascara heavily for 25 years without ever removing it properly, and it led to disturbing calcified lumps under her eyelid that required surgery. Lynch said, "I had fallen into a bad habit of wearing a lot of makeup and not washing it off. I should never have let it get this far." Dr. Dana Robai authored a case study on Lynch in the Journal of the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and says the woman risked going blind and left permanent scarring on her cornea. Professor John Dart of the UCL Institute of Ophthalmology says Lynch is the first known case of mascara causing such a serious injury to the eye, but warns that many cosmetics contain potentially toxic components, so it's never a good idea to keep it on long term. But don't immediately freak out if you forgot to take off your mascara last night. Professor Dart says one night every now and then is unlikely to damage your eye. While the FDA has issued a warning when it comes to liquid-filled intragastric weight loss balloons following 5 new reported deaths. This brings the worldwide death toll to 12 in just the last 2 years from the Orbera intragastric balloon and the Reshape integrated dual balloon system. And famed handbag designer Kate Spade was found dead at 55 in her Manhattan apartment on Tuesday of apparent suicide. NYPD confirmed she was found hanging from a doorknob. She was married for 24 years to Andy Spade and leaves behind a 13-year-old daughter. And New Jersey dentist Dr. Eyal Simki is going viral for the sleight of hand magic trick he uses to calm the nerves of his young patients. This video already has more than 34 million views, and I already checked, his office only takes kids.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, big news at Starbucks.
That's right, Richard. Howard Schultz is stepping down as executive chairman of Starbucks. Schultz is often credited for turning a small coffee chain into a global giant, with more than 2,800 stores across 77 countries. As for his next move, many are speculating he could step into politics. Tesla has refunded almost a quarter of Tesla's Model 3 reservation deposits. There are just under 500,000 reservations for the highly anticipated car, which has been plagued by production delays. In April, Tesla's CEO saying that the Model 3 delay could be up to 9 more months. United Airlines is testing a new system to speed up the boarding process. The company is narrowing the number of boarding groups to 2 instead of the current 5 at select airports.
And Nicole, how is customer satisfaction held up at airlines?
Well, not as bad as you would think. In fact, one survey found it actually increased in 2018. The biggest complaint among air travelers was poor Wi-Fi during flight.
It is rubbish. Nicole, in New York, thank you.
Our friend Headcrack over at Dish Nation dishes up the hottest celebrity news. So at Headcrack, I hear Diana Ross played a big part in the birth of her granddaughter.
That's right, Kristen. Evan Ross and Ashley Simpson are the proud parents of a 2-year-old daughter, and Evan recently told People magazine that his mom, the legendary Diana Ross, watched as Ashley delivered it. He said, "Those nurses can't stop my mom. Like Diana Ross just walks in." I mean, Kristen, are you surprised? I mean, of course not. Whatever Diana Ross wants, Diana Ross gets. Now, in other news, if you've been waiting for Simon Cowell to text you back, you're going to have to just keep on waiting. Simon says he hasn't been on his phone for 10 months, and it's really improved the quality of his life. Well, if Simon says it, you got to do it, right? Psh, psych. I ain't never letting go of my phone. Neither are you, right? And finally, today, I'll leave you with a love story. Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande have been together for only about a month, but he went ahead and already got 2 new tattoos inspired by his relationship. Now, the first one is bunny ears right behind his ear, and the second ones are of the letters AG on his hand. Well, guess if it doesn't work out with Ariana, he could always take over for Jeff Sessions as the new Attorney General, right? Wait, that was this week's Dish. Until next time.
Probably not a good idea to get tattoos that early on, but we wish them luck. Thanks, Headcrack. For the latest celebrity news, watch Dish Nation weekdays. Check your local listings. Top 30, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. Americans are drinking less milk and sales are down 3.5% in the last 5 years. Meanwhile, dairy alternatives like soy milk, almond milk, rice milk, etc. showed a sales increase of 4% in the last 5 years. According to a recent report, the alternatives have done a great job with their marketing, sparking a shift in dairy consumption. But some experts say there is no proof that dairy-free is healthier. The analysts that wrote the report said the makers of dairy alternatives generally appear to be doing a better job of connecting emotionally with consumers who favour more dairy-free options to meet their own perceptions about health and lifestyle. Still, the dairy industry isn't hurting by any means, having brought in about $600 billion in global sales last year.
27-year-old Michael Cadena was bullied at a California Target store because he has special needs, and his beloved Dodgers baseball cap was taken. His mother wrote about the unfortunate incident on Facebook and was met with an outpouring of supportive messages. It wasn't long before the Los Angeles Dodgers themselves jumped in. The team not only gave him free tickets to a game, but they invited him to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Cadena's favorite player, Cody Bellinger, acted as his catcher. He'd practiced throwing with his dad for weeks, and it paid off because he nailed the pitch. His dad, Joe, said, "I'm proud of him. He did well." Inspirational stories like that never get old.
In many places, it's now cheaper to take an Uber than own a car. In 4 of the country's 5 largest cities, the weekly cost of owning a car is higher than fares for UberX or Uber Pool. New Yorkers spend an average of $218 per week on a car versus $142 in Uber rides. Drivers in Washington, D.C. spend $130 for their cars compared to $96 for Uber. It's also cheaper to take the ride-hailing service than own cars in Chicago and Los Angeles. Only Dallas, Texas had lower weekly costs for owning a car than taking Uber, $65 compared to $181. The figures include the cost of gas, car insurance, maintenance, and parking. The costs come from an annual Internet Trends report by venture capitalist Mary Meeker. Meeker has been called Queen of the Internet because she was one of the first people to predict how digital technology would change American life.
It might not be where you'd expect to find it, but a horse stable in the middle of a public housing facility in Philadelphia is helping to change lives and keep kids out of trouble. Mike Jarek from Fox 29 in Philadelphia joins us now with more. Hi, Mike.
This man's name is Malik, but everybody in the neighborhood knows him as the Concrete Cowboy. He's owned this stable for years, and the kids who live in that neighborhood just love it.
Keeps me out of trouble, and I don't want to be nowhere in the streets. That's why I came here.
Well, Malik is getting a little bit older now, so he doesn't ride much anymore, so he relies on the younger stable members to teach the kids.
So, Mike, I hear there's an effort underway to make sure the Concrete Cowboys continue for years to come.
Yep. A GoFundMe page has been set up, but Malik wants everybody to know that everybody in the neighborhood is welcome.
Well, that stable sounds like a really special part of that community. Thanks, Mike. And Top 30 will be right back.
Welcome back to Top 30. The Miss America organization has eliminated its swimsuit competition. Chairwoman Gretchen Carlson says, "We're not going to judge you on your outward appearance. The changes are supposed to make Miss America more inclusive and empowering. Swimsuits have been part of the contest since 1921. It's a good move because of everything that's happened with Me Too. It's the right thing to do with the times.
Yeah.
I think the bigger picture for these competitions is they're just out of time and out of date, and I don't think they'll last that much longer.
But maybe flipping the script and going in a different direction will resonate with people at home, considering the timing. This is a bold move because the rest of the pageant circuit looks to Miss America.
Yeah.
And, you know, young girls do look up to these women. They're also doing away with the evening gown portion, which is a huge deal. They're instead encouraging these contestants to wear whatever makes them feel like they're expressing their personal style, which I think will be exciting to watch.
It's a big move. I don't know if it's a bold move. I think it's just a move they had to do. They had to, right? I mean, this will be ridiculous
Well, I don't think
to
they
carry
had
on
to.
with a swimsuit parade in 2018
I think
on
that's
television.
what's debatable about the issue, but, you know, regardless, this is a huge platform, and so whatever they're doing, the world is watching. So this is a step in the right direction, and now these women will be able to show off their brains more and less of their bodies. Okay.
Sure.
Well, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what Apple's doing. This week, Apple announced features to help users put down the phone, including an expanded Do Not Disturb feature and more control over notifications. And, you know, we've done a lot of stories here on Top 30 about, you know, how phone addiction is a real thing. People are spending incessant amounts of time on their phones. So hopefully these new features will help that problem.
What it has is a feature whereby you can set a timer for individual apps.
Yeah.
So, for example, you can say to your phone, take me off Instagram once it reaches an hour per day. Throw me off Twitter.
And then when it does, you'll be like, hey, hey.
Then all you'll do is go in the settings, undo it, and carry on.
And there are a lot of new features to talk about. You know, group FaceTime. You can get the whole family on FaceTime.
Like that took several faces on the screen
like the
at
Brady
once.
Bunch. Yeah, all those faces.
And the wonderful thing about the new FaceTime feature, in which you have several faces on the screen talking to you all at once, it means I'll never have to see my family in real life ever again.
But hopefully you'll want to. Top 30, I'll be right back. In today's Hometown Stories, from Fox 2 Detroit, high school senior and accomplished cellist Joshua Mcclendon was accepted to 5 music conservatories across the country. And in the fall, he'll be continuing his music education at Juilliard with a full-ride scholarship. His journey to the prestigious music conservatory in New York wasn't an easy one. He grew up with a single mom who battled 2 brain tumors, but she recognized his talent for music early on and always encouraged him to pursue his passion. And before he heads to Juilliard, Joshua will have the chance to perform with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, the place where he first fell in love with classical music. In our second story from Fox 4 Dallas, another student overcoming the odds is Aliya Reeves. Aliya dropped out of school when she was 14 years old, but a woman named Linda Nunley took her under her wing and got Aliya back on the right path. Aliya re-enrolled in school and turned her life around, becoming a campus leader and getting a full academic scholarship to Southern Methodist University. And in our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia, thanks to a local nonprofit, Philadelphia Eagle safety Trace Sullivan escorted a deserving high school senior to prom. The organization Unity in the Community gave Autumn Wallace a prom experience she'll certainly never forget, complete with free makeup, a limo ride, and of course, a very special date. Trace said he jumped at the chance to make Autumn's prom special.
Once I saw the opportunity to help a kid enjoy their prom and really so that I could stick with them for a long time, I just hopped on it.
And we're sure they had a great time dancing the night away.
Welcome back to Top 30. Some of the things that disgust you are actually what helps keep you healthy. A new study found feeling disgust keeps us away from situations and items that may be harmful. And what is really interesting about this is it's about evolution. And so disgust is an emotion, and scientists wanted to understand it. And what they learned is that the things that trigger disgust are things that can cause infectious diseases. So that could be an open wound. It could be promiscuous sex, food that is out of date, a cockroach. We know now, because microscopes can see germs.
Right, technology, right?
Yeah, those things can cause illness. But our forebears, for millions of years, they didn't know that.
Yeah.
But their body, biologically, instinctively understood what an infectious disease is. And that's what's interesting, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is important, researchers say, because it can affect how they target marketing campaigns to keep people healthy. I mean, think about it. If you have, you know, an anti-smoking campaign, for example, you take this information about what disgusts people and you can use it to develop, you know, advertising that will appeal to people and help them to stop smoking. So it's valuable information.
You can show, like, a toddler a cockroach, and they'll know that it can cause illness, even though it's not been explained, right? It's all there through evolution. That's what's interesting, I think.
Okay. Well, there's a new trend to help women get more time off of work after having a baby. Coworkers are donating their unused time to the new mom to extend her maternity leave. Now, I've heard about this before. Studies found about 15% of employees currently can take vacation time and share it with other people.
Yeah.
I've never left vacation time unused. I always take my vacation, but I think it's a very generous, incredible thing when people can share their vacation. So this mom...
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but it's very generous. I'm not giving anyone my vacation time, but I admire people that do it. In this country, there is no law requiring employers to offer pay. So a lot of companies do it anyway.
Yeah.
But in Europe, you have to do it.
The Family and Leave Medical Act, you can take 12 weeks off. You have that 12 weeks, but like to your point, it doesn't require employers to pay. So who can afford to take 12 weeks off unpaid? Not a lot of people in America.
Let's move on to this story. A Minnesota couple is getting married 37 years after they first met. Kimberly Dean and Ron Palmer dated in high school, but each went their own way and married other people, only to have it end in divorce. They stayed friends and years ago joked that if they were both single at 50, they would tie the knot. They're both now 50 and they're single. You know, it's been a long journey.
Yes, it has. I love this story because I just watched My Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts. You've seen that movie?
I literally thought you meant you'd been at your best friend's wedding. I really couldn't keep up with that. Unless your best friend is Julia Roberts. I mean, what happened?
We're like this. No, that's such a good movie, though. It talks about the same concept. You know, if we're not married by this age, then we'll marry each other. And this couple, it actually happened.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
I mean, they may have front-loaded the possibility that their early marriages ended in divorce by dreaming of marrying someone else at 50. But other than that, it's really romantic.
Other than that.
Top 30, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Monique Richard became the first woman on a solo trek to climb to the top of Canada's highest mountain. The Quebec native scaled the nearly 20,000-foot Mount Logan in the Yukon and said her first night alone on the mountain was weird and uncomfortable. She told the Canadian press just before reaching the peak, "I am so lucky, tired, burned face, but still smiling." Richard battled harsh weather and even equipment problems like a torn tent, but she still reached the summit faster than she expected she would. According to Parks Canada, there are no records dating all the way back to the late 1800s of any woman ever having reached the top in a solo climb until Richard.
Recent data shows that nearly half of all Americans are hacked each year, which is why we've got today's Top 30 steal. VPN Secure lifetime subscription at a special 92% discount. This security system encrypts your online traffic so hackers can't access your personal information. That means you can browse online with absolute peace of mind. This will keep your location and your IP address hidden. And unlike other VPN services, 0 logs are recorded. This lifetime subscription also lets you bypass those annoying geolocation blocks. It allows you to connect 5 devices simultaneously so you can ensure your entire family is protected. The VPN Secure lifetime subscription retails for $450, but today you can buy it for just $34.99. That's a 92% discount. You can get this right now at shoptop30.com while they last.
More Americans are testing positive for drugs at work. A new study by the testing company Quest Diagnostics found that in 2017, positive tests for drug use went up more than 4% nationwide. It's the highest rate in 10 years. The number of workers whose urine tested positive for cocaine jumped by 7% from 2016. In some states, it was much higher. Nebraska's use increased by 91%. Positive tests in Idaho climbed to 88%. There were also large increases in positive tests for methamphetamine. Between 2013 and 2017, some parts of the country increased between 140 and 167%. Positive tests for marijuana climbed 4% nationwide. The increases were biggest in states that legalize recreational weed. Nevada saw a 43% increase. Massachusetts climbed 14%. The research firm said, "It's unfortunate that we mark 30 years of the Drug-Free Workplace Act with clear evidence that drugs continue to invade the country's workplaces." However, positive tests for opiates went down across the country.
Okay, well, at least that's one thing going in the direction we like to see.
Yeah.
Okay, Top 30, we'll be right back. Welcome back. There's a new food trend taking restaurants across the country by storm. Veggies for dessert. And no, it's not some sort of punishment for your kids. Instead, chefs are harnessing the natural sweetness of vegetables and introducing diners to a new side of common foods that they've never been exposed to before. And some of the culinary creations they've dreamt up are as unexpected as they are delicious. Gramercy Tavern in New York City serves up a green curry ice cream with kumquat cake, as well as beet gelato with feta cheese. And Gwen Butcher Shop in Los Angeles makes a celery sorbet with watercress and goat cheese. One of the most popular desserts at Empeon, a Mexican restaurant in New York, harnesses the sweetness of corn in its corn ice cream taco. These dishes prove there's definitely a sweet way to get in those veggies.
It's a marvellous idea.
Yes.
You get, on average, less sugar in vegetables. Root vegetables are particularly good for you. I like it all. That is it for today's show. Here's what's coming up on the next Top 30. Father's Day will cost Americans more than $15 billion this year. Why experts say spending is on the rise. Plus, a new study finds the most risky age to be a teenager. And one special service dog gets honoured by the elementary school where she helps a young student. You can also listen to the day's biggest stories by subscribing to the new Top 30 podcast. See you next time here on Top 30.